Hey pros, Crystal here from Pro Beauty Wholesale. Welcome to segment 3 of private labeling with Pro Beauty. In this video, we are going to be discussing your product label, the requirements for your label, places that you can find designers, places that you are able to actually print the label, and of course, any of the other necessities that fall in line with label printing. Ready to learn how? Let's go. So let's go ahead and get into the first section of segment 3. We're going to talk about the requirements of your actual label. Now for this part, I highly recommend you screenshot this picture. This is going to really show you your layout in real just bold face. And I'm going to break it down a little bit so you understand on a bottle what this would look like. So this middle section is going to be the front of your bottle. This section over here on the right that shows your ingredients and your barcode, that will be the right side of your bottle. And then this side talking about the description, how to use it, and the manufacturer details, that is going to be the left back side of your bottle. So let's start with the front of your bottle, which is exactly what your consumer is going to see. More than likely, this is also going to be what your pictures are going to show. This is going to be the meat and potatoes of your label. So on this diagram, I literally have highlighted each individual section. So on the front of the bottle, of course, your product name is going to always be centered. It's going to be the highlight of your label. This is where you are able to add your metallic colors. This is also where you want to be slightly descriptive of what this product can do. And at the same time, you want your product name to really pop. So in this label, I'm using one of our Elite Total Body Care labels. This is another brand outside of Pro Beauty Wholesale. But your labels really want to entail who you are from beginning to end. So of course at the top, your logo is going to always go there. Hence the reason why in video 1, we talked a lot about your brand, your company name. That is why this is super important, because all of this transpires into your actual label. Now, outside of your logo, down here, as I said before, this is your product name. This is a kind of descriptor of what your product has in it. So I would say like this is a luxury blueberry or luscious blueberry anti-aging, antioxidant after shower body oil. I know coming off the tongue, that is a lot, but when a person is reading your label, this is telling them exactly what your product does, why they need it, who it's coming from, and again, why they need it. That's like super duper important. Now, outside of the actual product name, I like to use pictures on my labels, so it gives that key ingredient. So let's say it was a blueberry, like the name, I'm going to put a blueberry there. You don't have to put pictures if you don't want to. That is really your choice. But I highly recommend to make your label creative. Okay, so metallics are always really, really nice on product labels. You definitely want to get into like gradient pictures. You don't want your background to be super busy. You want it to be nice and clean. What I also would recommend is going into the retail stores, your Targets, your Walmarts, your CVS's. Look at your competitors' bottles. Look at the descriptions that they're giving. Look at the layout of their labels. Even though the layouts typically match this almost 100% of the time, look at how they are describing their product. Look at the colors. Look at the material that they're using. That is super important when you are deciding how you want your label to look and how it's going to be created. Lastly, on the front of your bottle, you definitely need to make sure that your net weight is there. When I say net weight, you typically want to place your ounces first and then your milliliters after. Some countries, they speak ounce. Some countries speak milliliter. Remember, we are creating a brand that can suffice us for 10 or more years. So don't think about tomorrow. Don't try to cheat yourself, because label printing can get super expensive. And if you keep doing this over and over and over again, all of your profits are going to go into your labels. Lastly, on the front of your label, I like to put my brand website down at the bottom. Hence the reason why, as I said in video 1, where we were talking about your branding, your website domain is super important. Now, if you haven't seen either one of the videos that I just mentioned, definitely go back on my channel or click down in the description box and you can see video 1 and 2 where we talk about your company, your brand, and also your pricing, all of that good stuff. Now, for the right back side of your label, so if you flip your bottle or you turn your bottle, this is going to be on the right side, but we also call this the back side. This is not going to be seen in your photos. It traditionally doesn't really matter in your marketing, but definitely when your product is sitting on a shelf, when your customer is receiving this product, these key areas have to be included. So your ingredients, definitely make sure that your ingredients are on that label. It is a FDA requirement. You cannot skip that. You have to tell everything that is in your product. Now I'm going to give you a pro tip. Lean in close, okay? When you are putting your ingredients on your label, don't use the common name. Common names are boring. So I'll give you an example. Sunflower seed oil sounds very boring. But when you use the INCI name, which for those of you that don't know, INCI is the chemical name, right? The original name. It's named Helenithus anise seed oil. When a person reads that, they're like, oh my gosh, this is so luxurious. I really need this product. But at the end, it's really just sunflower oil. And I'm sure when you're picking up your bottles and you're reading them, this is exactly what is catching your eye. All of these very long-winded names, and you're like, oh my gosh, it has this, and it has this, and it has this. So use the INCI name of any ingredient. And typically when you want to find your INCI name, you can Google, type in sunflower oil, INCI. So Igloo, Nancy, Charter, Igloo. And that will give you the actual chemical name for that ingredient. Another area on your label is going to be your precautions. Precautions are definitely important on the label. This is where you'll see keep out of reach of children. Please do a patch test before using. This is going to legally protect you later on, because if a person decides that they want to take your Luscious Blueberry Anti-Aging Body Oil, and it says the word body, and they want to swallow it, it's going to tell them, hey, you probably shouldn't have done that because that was a precaution. So precautions are definitely important on your label. And then for my labels, I like to also include my social media handles right above my barcode, because your social media handles is really going to bring the world to you rather than you are always searching for the world to market your product. Now your barcodes, I would recommend, if you are ever going to get into barcoding, where Amazon, any retailer is going to require it. Almost everybody requires it. Even if you're using Shopify as your platform, it's asking for your SKU number. Go ahead and get your barcodes through GSI or GSI-1. They are the leader of barcodes. It's actually worldwide or global. They are the only ones that literally have the capability of giving you a barcode that is usable by any retailer in any country. Okay, so don't skip it. Don't go and buy a bulk of barcodes from some random company because it was cheaper, because I promise you it's going to cost you a lot more later on. Now on the left back side of your bottle, this is going to be your product description. Now I'm going to give you guys another pro tip. We have this new thing called ChatGPT. I highly recommend you use that to your advantage. ChatGPT will literally give you your description and make it sound so amazing. Make it sound like you paid someone $1,000 to create this content for you, to create this verbiage for you, and it's a free tool. So use that to create your description. And then over here also is where your directions are. So you can use the word directions, you can use how to use, you can use the word use, but you just want to make sure that you are spelling out what this section says. And then you can also use ChatGPT to give you the information of the wording for your directions for the actual product. Now, if it's a shampoo, you do want to make sure that you're being descriptive. It's a conditioner, a wrap foam. You have to kind of create your description or your directions based on you talking to the dumbest person in the world. And it's sad to say, but you want it to be so basic for any child, adult, elderly person to understand that it's there. Okay. And I know that sounds crazy, but you don't know who's picking your product up. So you always just want to make sure that it's understandable and relatable. Now here, one thing that I will recommend is using the Made in USA, because of course, Pro Beauty products are made in the United States. They're actually all literally manufactured in Apopka, Florida. So that's something that we pride ourselves on. Everything is done in-house through an actual platform where we can say we are not getting our items from other countries. I want to say that the right way. Okay. And then lastly, another major requirement is manufactured by or distributed by. You have to use one or the other. It must contain your company name. It must contain an address, and it must contain either a website or even a phone number. Now, I use this label on purpose because it did not contain my website. It does not contain a phone number. And this label was actually cited by one of the retailers, and I could not actually market this product, specifically Amazon. So they actually wanted to see all of the FDA requirements covered. This particular product I was not able to put on Amazon, and they actually made me exclude it mainly because I had no way of telling the customer how to contact us if something was wrong. So make sure you include either your website or your phone number on there. Lastly, these pictures here are what we would consider as icons that can be used globally. So this tells your customer that this product has a 6-month lifespan. Now, does your customer really adhere to that? Sometimes no, but is that your problem? Absolutely not. You want to make sure that you are covering your bases and letting them know, hey, this product can go rancid within 6 months. The other part, which is this little bunny here, so we try to make sure that we are economically friendly and we are eco-friendly with all of our Pro Beauty products. So this is a global icon that says that we are eco-friendly and our products were not animal tested, which is another big highlight, especially in the retail world when it comes on to beauty products. Now, I know I just gave you a ton of information on your product label, hence the reason why I said go ahead and screenshot this picture, because this is gonna make it so much easier for you. Take my foolish advice, I spent tons on labels, and I have boxes of labels that I can no longer use because I didn't have this information in the beginning. Now, once you have your actual label laid out, this is going to now put you into your label printing. But let's back up for one. If you are just not comfortable with creating a product label, where can you go to get this done? Who can do it for you? Well, number one, of course, you can go to a graphic designer. Most graphic designers know how to design product labels. Number two, you can use resources like Fiverr, Etsy, Upwork. You can hire a freelancer. Now, I can tell you that that gets a little expensive if you start with the traditional graphic designer or your Upwork freelancer. I would definitely say if you are in a ballpark of just very limited funds, use Fiverr, use Etsy to your advantage. Canva, if you are handy. This label was actually created on Canva. So you can definitely utilize Canva and just type in that search box product label, and it will give you a template for you to use. Now, once you have your design, we can forward over to label printing. Label printing is one of those things that you really just want to make sure that you find a company that you're comfortable with and that offers the quantities that you are needing. So number one, when I started my labels, I used Avery. Avery was very cost effective. It allowed me to print my labels in sheets rather than rolls. Now, when I say in rolls, this is what we call a roll of labels, okay? So this is actually for a labeling machine, which that's what we have in the warehouse for Pro Beauty. So we order our labels in the thousands versus in the hundreds or, the single digit numbers. Now, when you get to this realm, I would definitely say we're gonna take this printing to another level. And we have actual resources that we use on Alibaba, AliExpress. If you even have a vendor that is local that can do roll printing, you can start there. It does get a little more expensive when you're doing it that way, but it's definitely worth it, and it's gonna cut your costs about 80% compared to you printing it on the sheets. Now, outside of the label rolls, like I said before, Avery will do it, U-Printing will do it, and there are a million other companies, Lightning Labels. You pick the one that works best for you, that offers what you need. So with that being said, we're gonna go into the actual requirements that are gonna be needed for any of your Pro Beauty products. Now, of course, we are doing hair care products, body care products. These are products that traditionally will touch water. They will touch oil, they will touch the body. So you don't wanna use your traditional paper that you would get off of your inkjet or your laser printer. The requirements for these labels is traditionally gonna be white vinyl labeling film. You can use translucent film. You can use monochrome film, you can use chromatic film. For us, we use chromatic film for all of our labels, and what chromatic film does is anything that has a different color, you are able to make that a metallic by just the changing of the film. Now, if you're printing this in sheets through Avery or any of the other companies, you won't be able to do that. When you get into your rolls, that is when you'll be able to make your luscious blueberry chrome, or your blueberries here actually a foil blue. That is what that does. But outside of that, definitely make sure you have that white vinyl film. That is actual waterproof film and oil-proof film. Now, it does cost a little bit more, and I will say when you are doing your labels in sheets, prepare to pay at minimum $1 per label. If you know that you are gonna be working with Pro Beauty long-term, which that's one of our hopes, of course, just make sure that you go ahead and get these labels printed at least $250 or more, And then you'll be able to start really doing that chromatic look and that glossy look and all those little perks or nooks and crannies that we see, especially in the retail store. Now, outside of your label printing, make sure that your quantities match what you need. If you're just starting, I would highly recommend not to go past about 18 to 24 labels until you're super comfortable and you know that your label is 100% exactly where you want it to be. Once you get it there, go ahead and get your labels printed in rolls, and then you can really cut your cost down to about a quarter, if not less, per label. Remember, at the end of the day, your bottom line really, really matters. And if your bottom line is wrong or you are literally undercutting yourself, you're doing this for no reason at all. So I'd highly recommend, if you haven't already, go check out our video on pricing, which was video number 2. Super important, and it's going to set you up for success. But I know I had a lot to say in this video, and I don't want to overwhelm you. So definitely make sure you look out for video number 4. If you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Thumbs up this video, comment down below, tell us which Pro Beauty products you've started with, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.